we all know life got a bit more expensive last week because of energy prices. And as we know, food's been rising in price for a while now, but supermarkets are throwing away the equivalent of around 190 million meals a year in surplus food. So should they be doing more to help those in need? What do you reckon?
I absolutely think so. I know that, you know, my local supermarket, they kind of do their best as far as there's always a thing at the end of the hour where you can donate, you know, buy an extra tin of something that's bad and you can donate it for food banks. It's a great idea. But I've been in now a few times where this one particular fridge keeps breaking down. But it breaks down and and it's long, you know, in a big supermarket, every single thing in that fridge gets thrown away. So I was saying to them, well, it's thrown away. And they were like, well, yeah. And I just couldn't get my head around it. I was like, I can understand if the fridge has been off for 24 hours, they might be a bit worried. But when the fridge has just gone down, why aren't you saying to people in the supermarket or, you know, you can have it, either have it
or take
or
it rather than
for a pound or whatever.
Yeah.
Just go and help yourself because we're going to throw it away. I don't understand.
That's not always down to supermarkets, though, is it, Jane?
No, I mean, gosh, it's very confusing, I think. I mean, first of all, some of them have affiliations. Some supermarkets are better than others at you know, passing food on, and they have affiliations with charities that oversee food being redistributed. But there's so many of these charities that, in a way, it almost needs an umbrella group to kind of launch this big coordination project. I think there's a lot of confusion around use by, sell by, best before dates. So rather than kind of go through all the logistics of it, I think the supermarkets just go, let's not risk it. Because if we give it to somebody and it's off, and then they sue us...
Yeah, that's the issue now,
Yeah,
I
just think there needs to be some sort of process that maybe is set up by the government, because in France, for example, I was reading, in France it is against the law for a grocer to refuse somebody free food that has just gone out of date. Yeah, it's enforceable under the law, which is not the case here. So I think, I think rather than the government just pushing it all onto the supermarkets all the time, they could actually be quite helpful in going, OK, let's all get together, let's work out the best system to get the food out there, because as a country, we have the worst food waste in Europe, and that's not just supermarkets, that's in our own houses, in the workplace, on farms, collectively.
Yeah, and I think we also have to take responsibility for the decisions that we make where food is concerned. Because, as you say, we also throw away so much food that is completely fine to use. And I think it was one of the major supermarkets has taken the use-by date off milk bottles because they say, we don't need to have dates, you just need to sniff it.
Yeah.
If you sniff it, you can immediately smell if milk is off.
Yeah.
But what you've got is people looking at those dates and immediately going, oh, no, it's off, and pouring it away without trying it first. And perhaps we've lost the ability to simply understand how food works and just smell it. With most foods, I would say, because that's how I was raised to deal with it. My mum will always say, just smell it and look at it, and then you'll know if it's off. And once it reaches that stage, then throw it away.
But that was obviously difficult during COVID because everyone lost their sense of smell. And
but that is also true.
and taste. Could have eaten anything.
I mean, it says here each UK household throws away £470 worth of food each year. That's a lot.
A lot of money,
It's completely... I mean, what do you like with food at home, Claire?
I think we waste way too much food at home. I know things have been bought that, like you say, all of a sudden someone goes, oh, sell by date, you know, or best before date, and they bin it.
Yeah.
But I've really got to a point now where I do, certainly milk and all that, I always smell the milk. And the eggs, I always do that egg test where you...
I didn't know about this egg test.
Yeah, so you fill up a pan of water and you put the eggs in, and if they sink to the bottom, it means they're fine. If they float, they're off.
But unless you've had to marry your husband.
I taught my son this. And then one time I was away and he said, Mum, I did the egg test today. He went, it's right, isn't it, that if they float, they're OK? And I went, no, that means they're off. And he went, I've eaten 3 and I cannot tell you, it was not good. It was not good.
See, again, I know you can't do it with a boiled egg, but every time I break an egg, I smell it.
So you can also smell with eggs.
Well, I would assume so, because if you smell off eggs, and so again, I use like you. I was brought up to use my nose with a lot of stuff, but you know, I don't know. I really think about food waste now. And I mean, my daughter lives in a block of flats above a supermarket, And I'm really envious because she has no food waste, because basically she comes home, she goes, oh, what do I want tonight? And she goes down in the lift into the supermarket and gets it. And whereas I think a lot of us, when we're busy, we do a weekly food shop, kind of anticipating what we might need.
And then
because you haven't got the time. And then you just end up
the other thing,
chucking it
the other
out.
mistake I make, I keep forgetting to make a list when I go out. So when I'm out, I go, oh, have we got this? Have we got this? And I end up going, I'll get it just in case we haven't. And it drives Kira, my daughter, insane, because she's like, Mum, we've now got 27 tins.
Do you know what?
Beans.
But there are ways to alleviate even that now. I think we have to be quite clever about the way that we deal with food. And rather than throwing away surplus food or leaving surplus food in our houses to go off or our flats to go off, there are apps that exist for this. And there's an Olio app, and I met the founders a couple of years ago, I think. And essentially, if you've got surplus food in your house that you know is probably going to, that you don't need in the next week or so, all you've got to do is input it into the app, and then someone locally will have a look at that and go, oh, actually, I could do with that. And they say, yep, I'll take it. You drive round to the house, you pick it up for free, and you can take that food. So it's a way of trying to alleviate the issue that we have with food waste, because I think what is unacceptable behaviour has become quite acceptable, I think.
Yeah, there's a few. So, like, Too Good To Go is another app, No Waste is another app. But you just think I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but you just think, how hard can it be to coordinate the big supermarkets to even just like at the end of half an hour before the end of closing each day, and maybe, as you suggested earlier, you just, on your way in, you sign a disclaimer. I understand I'm taking personal responsibility for this food that I take, and I have no redress.
Because they used to let the homeless come at the end of the day and take whatever was left over, don't they? But they can't do that anymore. So now they put dye in it to stop them eating it just in case.
I'm not sure that's completely... Oh, yes, on the wasted food you then put in the bins. No, it is true. There has to be a different way of doing it, really.